Okay, we can start now. So, Assalamu alaikum and Namaskar. Good evening. On behalf of BASE, I am Mahmudul Hassan Dabuk. Welcome you all. So, before I start this program, I should say something about BASE. As a Bengali Academia for Social Empowerment is a developmental organization registered as a trust by a collective of academicians, scholars, professionals, and other like-minded people working for community and social development. I must say that in this pandemic time, BASE has done excellent social work. This lockdown, this loss of job, and also devastating impact of Amphan affected West Bengal very badly. In this time, BASE opened more than 25 community kitchens all over the West Bengal for Amphan affected people and poor people, for migrant laborers and helpless street vagabonds. It also distributed triples, dry food, medicine, sanitary napkins, and other related relief items. BASE has helped many migrant laborers to go back their own states. Recently, BASE has distributed education kits for poor and first generation children for little bit encouragement. I must add that in this current socio-political scenarios and the backwardness of certain section of society, we must think that there is a tangible need to organize intellectually. This is an effort to reach out as many as we can in various ways and platforms. Primarily, we are building a network of related people in higher education, which is helpful in different ways, especially for information sharing and education concern people of various institutions across Bengal and India and abroad. BASE has been conducting online lectures since last 2 months. This BASE lecture series is a part of larger activity of BASE, which would serve as social awakening, gathering knowledge from different perspective and other holistic purpose. Today we have BASE online lecture number 44, and topic is the Fulbright's Fellowship Program, a gateway for Indian students to study in USA. And today's speaker is Noor Rizvi, research scholar AMU. I would request all the participants to turn off their audios and videos, and please don't present your screen. If you have any question, write it on the chat box. Now I would request Dr. Sahil Mohammad Delabul Hossain, Assistant Professor, School of Humanities, KIT, deemed to be University, Bhubaneswar, to introduce and welcome today's speaker as well as today's chair. Dr. Sahil, over to you.
Hello, good evening. Hasanda, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay. So, good evening to one and all present here. I am Sahil Mohammad Bilabul Hussain. On behalf of Bengali Academia for Social Empowerment, I welcome you all to BASE Online Lecture Series, lecture number 44. Today's topic is very interesting and it is especially relevant for aspirants who want to have a foreign exposure in their studies. Yes, our topic is on the Fulbright Fellowship Program, a great gateway for Indian students to study in the US. I feel the privilege to introduce our guest for today's session, Ms. Noor Rizvi, speaker for today's session, and Dr. Hadida Yasmin, chair of the session. Ms. Rizvi, our speaker, is currently working as a doctoral research fellow in the Department of English, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, Uttar Pradesh, India. She was a Fulbright scholar for the year 2018-19 and has worked as a foreign language teacher assistant at University of Kansas, Lawrence, USA. Her academic specialization is in English language teaching. research area focuses on the scope and need for in-service English language teacher training with a special importance to minority status institutions. Welcome, Ms. Rizvi. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Hadida Yasmin, the session chair. Dr. Yasmin is working as a teaching faculty in the Department of Zoology in Coach Bihar Panchanan Burma University, Coach Bihar, West Bengal, India. At present, she holds the designation of an associate professor and is also the head of the department. An erudite scholar and scientist in her field, Dr. Yasmin has received INSA Visiting Scientist Award aimed to New Delhi in the year 2019-20. To her credit, she has 3 Young Scientist Awards in the year 2003 in 3 different forums. She has a considerable research contribution in the form of research publications and books. She was also the administrator of the Fulbright Nehru International Education Program 2016-17. Welcome, ma'am. I want to express that BASE is indeed honored to have both of you here for the program. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Before we start, I request all the participants to put their mics on mute. I would also request the participants to post your queries in the chat box at the end of the session for further interaction. Now, I would hand over the podium to Dr. Yasmin to start today's session. Dr. Yasmin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I somehow in between I got disconnected. I'm back on time. So I think the speaker has already been introduced, and very welcome to you, ma'am. And I think it will be a very delightful session. And I hope, without not wasting much of the time, I would let her to speak, and then at the end, I think we can have our conversation. So welcome you. Yeah, please. Now the session is all on you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yasmin and other people who introduced, Dr. Hassan and all. First, I would like to check, am I audible to all of you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine. So I hope everyone is in good health, and good evening to all of you. Today, as you already introduced about me, I'm going to talk about Fulbright Fellowship Program in Gateway for Indian students who study in USA. So this topic is very, very close to my heart because I heard, I wanted to tell you that I heard about Fulbright program in 2016, and because of certain circumstances, I did not made it in the first time. But since this was very, very close to my heart, I keep working on it, and finally I achieved it in 2017 to 18. So getting around, especially going US is a dream for many students, especially when we talk about a developing country like our country, India, and other Asian countries. The problem is that the process is very, very hectic. When you go for, especially United States, the tuition fee is very high, and the process is very, very hectic because you don't understand how to do the visa process, everything. So the Fulbright program is actually enable graduate students, and especially young professionals and artists, linguists from abroad to study and conduct research in USA. So this is the main idea about Fulbright program, and this is a very wide program. Fulbright program is actually it's more than 160 countries worldwide are involved in this program. And surprisingly, 4,000 foreign students every year they receive Fulbright program. So this is all about Fulbright program in a brief introduction. And in today's lecture, I'm going to share various things like what is the eligibility criteria of this program, how to apply, how to fill the application form, and types of Fulbright program. And one thing I would like to mention more before going to start, actually Fulbright program is a very, very prestigious program. So you can find ample of information on internet. You can just write Fulbright program on YouTube, and you will find a lot of information, not only from India, not only from United States. Since I said 160 countries are involved in this program, so you can find a video from Taiwan, from Japan, from Russia, from various nations. The information is a lot. The information which is given on internet is a lot of information. The only thing is that today I'm going to share about my personal experience, that uh, how I see a dream and how I fulfill this dream through certain approach and certain way. So let's begin the first slide. This is the small introduction about the
Yes,
program.
please resume your PPT.
Is it visible?
No, please resume it.
Just a second. I hope it is visible, right? Is it visible for everyone?
No,
Just
no,
resume it.
it should zoom it.
Actually, on my screen, it is on Zoom. I don't know how to make it.
It is visible, ma'am.
It's visible. One has to pin the presentation.
No. This is not is. We are recording
Not
it.
visible.
So just go in the present now, and then do a resume.
Okay, 1 second.
Present now, then go to Zoom. Actually, that is our resume.
I think on the right hand side there is a present now section.
Yes,
You have-
yes.
and
Present.
can you see resume? Then you can click on that.
No. Just wait few more minutes. She will join soon. Okay, please unmute. Noor, please unmute your audio.
Is it visible to everyone now?
No. Why is that PPT?
No, it's not visible.
No.
Actually, you have to share it.
I actually click on a share option. I don't know why this has happened.
Just to go in the present now, and if you have already presented it, so just click on the resume option.
Is it visible now?
No, ma'am.
Let me check the internet connectivity. But
Yeah.
Yes.
oh God, I'm so sorry.
From audience, please don't talk. From audience, please don't talk. We are here to help.
I'm so sorry for the inconvenience because I don't know some technical or not. So let's begin it. I'm talking about the program history and administration. It was created by Congress, U.S. Congress in 1946 to foster mutual understanding among cultures and nations. And this program is sponsored by U.S. Department of States. And the function of abroad in cooperation with Fulbright program and foundation in the U.S. embassies. So basically, the Fulbright program is between U.S. embassies and other nations. And the whole administration is operated through IIE, that is called Institute of International Education, obviously governed by US. Now let's see what is Fulbright program. So Fulbright program is a full flagship educational and cultural exchange program. So the main purpose of this program is that it will give you an educational platform as well as the cultural exchange program. Focus on recent Indian and US college, universities, graduate artists, and young professionals. Study, research, or teaching assistantship opportunities. So what is Fulbright grant? I'm going to talk further more about what grant will cover in Fulbright program. So is an award to support self-design, study, or research in 155 plus, approximately sometime it's 160 countries. And this program actually also worked for Fulbright also came to India and other countries just to support the English language teaching assistantship in over 40 countries. And who is eligible, who should apply this program? So there are certain qualities they will see in your application. Is one quality, more important quality is that highly motivated. So you are very, very highly motivated for a Fulbright program, and open-minded individual. So you are very, very open-minded individual. You have leadership quality, and they might also see that how flexible you are, because you are going to stay in a different country. So how you are going to adapt certain things, and obviously leadership quality is very important, flexibility, adaptability, all these things. So those who can contribute to benefit from the cultural exchange. So actually Fulbright program shows that only we can show Indian culture at the international platform. Like we will go to abroad in United States and we can show our culture at international platform. But the objective of this program is that once you are come back to your country, you can also share about values, culture, and whatever you learn in any way from United States, you will back and you can share in your country. And thinking of applying. So who is going to think and going to apply? You can always ask that, am I eligible? So there are certain criteria, but Fulbright program is actually mainly this program is for Indian citizen. If we take in the context of Indian Fulbright program, so you have to be Indian citizen. You are in a good health, because once you are selected, they will see your medical history. So this is very important that you are in fit condition, you are in good health. And for various Fulbright program, because Fulbright program is categorized into various category, like Nehru Fulbright program, Fulbright postdoctoral program. Actually, I was selected for Fulbright language teaching assistant program. So that is what I'm going to talk about, Fulbright language teaching assistant program in a more, in a more specific way. And these are the criteria we are going to see on the next slide. So here is the small video about the Fulbright program. I don't know it will going to play or not because of certain problem. We can watch it later. I will check it. Is it working or not? Because right now it's not working. When I click it, it's not working. So let's see. Yeah, we'll watch it later. Okay. So first I would like to start with the Fulbright Nehru Master Fellowship Program. So the Fulbright Nehru Master Fellowship Program are designed for outstanding Indians to pursue a master's degree program at select US college and university in the area of art and culture. Management also included heritage. So these are the various disciplines they are going to cover, like economics, environmental science, higher education, administration, international affairs, international legal studies, public administration, public health, urban and regional planning, and women's studies, gender studies. So this is for the Fulbright Nehru Master Fellowship Program. Excuse me to all of you. I'm just coming within a second. I have some distraction. Yes, sorry for the inconvenience. So I was talking about Fulbright Nehru Mastership Program. So you can apply if you have cover all these discipline. It's and the second one and the next one is Fulbright Nehru Academic. Am I audible? I feel like my voice is echoing.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so the next one is Fulbright Nehru Academic Professional Excellent Fellowship Program. So this program aims to provide Indian faculty, researcher and professionals for opportunity to teach, conduct research, or carry out a combination of teaching and research as at a US institution. So depending on the US host institution, it is likely that guarantee may contribute towards the developing curriculum and conducting workshop and seminars. So these fellowship for 4 to 9 months. The duration of this fellowship is 4 to 9 months. So you can see that there are various category even in a Fulbright program. It is not only for a certain area. Like if some programs are mainly meant for teachers, some is for researchers, some is for young professionals, artists. So you have to figure it out where you can see yourself, where you are fit for that program. And
Okay, please resume your PPT, please.
Is it not visible now?
No.
Okay, I think it's visible now. Is it visible now?
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay,
I can
thank
see.
you.
No,
So,
I think it is not visible. It's not visible. Please.
But I can see. I can see the
Sir, it is visible.
slide. It's visible to all of us, I think, because I can see the slide on the website written.
Okay, I can carry on then, or you want to have some?
Better to make it full screen view.
It's in full screen actually. We can see the full screen.
Yeah, it is.
No,
in full
we're
screen.
not. We're not getting
Screen, sir. Screen.
It is in full screen, but I can go back and check it out if it is not visible for others.
Please resume it. And please don't talk from audience. It is a request.
Is it visible?
No, still not.
Is it visible now?
No.
Is it visible to anyone right now?
No, you can just present now again.
You mean without PPT?
No, 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 no.
Like I
Just
can disconnect it and again I will go it, right?
yes, cancel the previous one and start it again.
I don't know why this has happened. Okay, fine. Present no option. Okay. Sure. Start sharing now. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes. Just
Okay.
do it full screen.
Okay, fine. So I'm so sorry for the inconvenience to everyone because I don't know what has happened. Let's start right now. On the website, on the website USIEF, I'm going to talk about USIEF on the coming slide. That is United States Indian Education Foundation. So you can find all the information like grant information descriptions, eligibility requirements, country descriptions, campus advisor information. Actually, country description is not meant for a student who is Indian student who is trying for United States. So you can only see the host institution or host state in United States. IIE contact information is given. Online application and the guarantee directory and all the information you can find on the website. So the Fulbright full grant, as I said, this is designed for academics, research, artist project, and project may include university coursework, research, or professional training in arts. So now let's see. As I said, that going United States and studying or teaching in United States is a dream for everyone. So the benefit we are going to get from the Fulbright program is a grant benefit, and the grant benefit is going to cover all these things, all these components like road trip, airfare. So you need not to pay not a single dollar for your air tickets, and you will get a monthly stipend. So in your host institution, you will get monthly stipend, and this will depend vary on your institution. So if you live in expensive city like New York, Chicago, it may differ from other place. So it will cover your room, your daily expenses, and the best thing is that it will also cover the health insurance, because in United States health insurance is very expensive to cover, and benefit may also vary country to country. That means that sometimes it is different from country to country, like from Middle East country, from Asian countries, from European countries. So that may vary actually. And dependent support, like if you want to attend any conference and if you want to learn any language, in any foreign language, or you might interested to enroll in any courses some teacher professional development it depends on your interest. And research allowances, so research allowances is also given. Tuition fees is given if you want. Actually the FLTA program is I'm going to talk on the coming slide. So in FLTA program, Fulbright language teaching program, you have to enroll into two courses, in two regular courses in the university. So you need not to pay any tuition fee for that. That is free of cost for a Fulbright program. And language lessons, enhancement activities. So now let's talk about Fulbright application. So let's see application components. So application is a kind of tricky thing, because once you start filling about Fulbright application, because the selection has been taken from various committees, because in India it will first go to national level, and then it will go to international level. In United States, even United States, I think 2 times it is filtered. So application is very important in that way, that you have to show about yourself. Mostly it shows that statement of grand purpose. In a research, you have to show that what you want to do, which kind of research you are interested. And in the personal statement means you have to write about yourself. Not like you talk about your educational qualification, because your educational qualification is already given in your CV. Whatever you have done, like in my case, I was a research scholar, I was NET qualified, JRF qualified. So all this information is already given in my CV. So it is very important to not avoid. It is very important to not repeat all this educational qualification. Personal statement means that it is an opportunity to talk about yourself, who you are, maybe what kind of problems you have in your life and how you overcome those problems, or maybe you have something interesting to talk about. It is again very personal thing. So this is it will cover personal statement.
Yes, again the same mistake. Again, please resume your PPT. So again, a request to audience: don't present your screen. If you present your screen, so we can't see the PPT of the speaker. So it is a request: don't present your screen. Ma'am, please resume your PPT. Yes, there is option resume now.
Okay. Is it visible now?
No. PPT is not visible. You are visible.
Stop presenting. I don't want to stop. You are presenting. Is it visible now?
Yes. Do it full screen.
Okay, great. Okay, so I was talking about the application components, and for the application components, you need your personal statement, your area of interest. If you want to share about your research proposal, you can write about your research area. And the 3 references are very important. So I would like to highlight on the references. Don't take it like very, very lightly, like as we take in many contexts, that references are just 6-7 lines from your professor and teacher that you have good characteristics and a very hardworking, this kind of thing. It is not going to work. In United States, they take references letter very, very seriously. So what you need to do is that first of all, try to take references from professors, teachers who know you very well actually, and who has time to write about yourself. So references letter should be very, very strong. It is not like within a 6, 7, or 8 lines and some repetitive and something. So reference letter also shows about your character and your personal experience with that with your teacher. So reference letter, 3 reference letter you have to take from your professor. And transcript is a degree or a mark sheet, whatever you have, your bachelor's degree, master's degree. Language evaluation is a TOEFL exam actually. So once you are shortlisted for a Fulbright program, the USIF will provide you a brochure of appearing in a TOEFL brochure in order to appear in the exam. So for TOEFL, you need to again work hard, and you need to work in a strategic way. Time management is very important. And I think you have to score at least 80, 79. Minimum requirement for TOEFL is 80 scoring. And So now those are the application components I discussed about. So in this, personal statement is very important. Reference letter is very important, and preparation for the application. So the thing is that you have to prepare for the application. It is not going to happen in a one sitting. Like if you decided in a last moment, I'm going to apply for Fulbright program, and within a couple of days I can write, or maybe within a week. So it is very big application form. And the main thing is that it should be very, very clear. It should be very clear about your interest, about yourself, and try to be very, very honest about yourself. This is actually also very important. And the application process needs also your CV. So you can also see CV, how to make CV in American format. There's so many samples are given on the internet, so you can download any sample how to make your CV, and you can make it in that way. And Fulbright as application form is itself is a very, very clear. So once you open it, it is given that which font size you are going to use and what kind of spaces you need when you write an application form. And there's a space between two paragraphs. So all these things are given in the application procedure. So it is better to follow all those things, because they see a very minor thing in your application form, and introduce you as a person to the committee, your background, perspectives, values. So in the personal statement, it is very important that you will show that you are committed to your society, you are committed to your country, and what kind of contribution you think that you can give to others after fulfilling this program. Because one thing I would like to mention about Fulbright program is that if you see the history of Fulbright program, Fulbrighters, they mostly they went to politics, or they won Nobel Prize. So somehow the expectations are very, very high from you, and yeah, that's it. And could not be written by anyone else. So it is not good idea to you can go somewhere and someone else write a letter for you. Oftentimes begins with or includes an anecdote that captures something important about you. Or one thing is also that you can also start with some story about you, small incident, something happened to you. The main idea is that your application should be very, very catchy, and like they will find something unique in you, because they have thousands of applications, and thousands of applications, they have to select 20-25 applications for shortlisted. They shortlisted 20 to 25 application. So you know how to make it unique. And uniqueness means it does not mean that you will use very literary or flowery language and phrases, because they are not going to actually. This is the thing. How to say? This has happened many times, because students think that if they write in a very good English or a very flowery language, using of phrases, idioms, it is not going to attract them. It is not going to impress them. Maybe you can write something in a very simple language, and you talk about yourself. This is very important, and don't feel hesitant to share anything about you, even because this is very, very confidential, this is very personal. So you can write anything you want to write, and avoid overlap with the statement of brand purpose. So your statement should not be overlap, and it is very important to make a clarity in your application. And I suggest to everyone that once you finish your application, once you finish your essays, it is better to show your colleague, or maybe your anyone, so that if that person can understand what you have written, then it means that you are going in the right direction. Yeah. So a statement of grant purpose, full grant. So 2-page essay that answer the question what, where, how, when, and why. Demonstrate knowledge of the field of study. Demonstrate awareness of need in the host country. Any potential concern about project feasibility or your ability should be addressed directly. Describe in-country affiliation you have arranged. So this is actually mainly for the statement of grant purpose. So let's see the selection process. Selection process is very long. It takes approximately approximately an year, not a year, but maybe 8 to 9 months. So first, and this year I think the last date was 27 or 28th of August. I'm not sure about the date, but it is just gone. So if you have any idea, if you have any plan to apply for that, you will start working right now. So because August and September is the last date for the application form, and then the National Screening Committee will start working in December. That will review your application for a given country field, and they recommended candidate for a selection. So the first step is that screening of your application, and then they will recommend it your name. And in December, after that, you will, you will get a notification regarding you are going to appear in TOEFL exam. And if you already have TOEFL from last 2 years, because TOEFL is valid for 2 years, so maybe the condition is different for you. You need not to apply for TOEFL exam. And after that, in January to May, the Fulbright Commission will work actually, and the embassies are working. So the Fulbright Commissions and US embassies in the host country select the principal and alternative candidates. So in March and April, in my case actually I got notification in May, and they sent me 6 universities that I can select. I can give a preference, like preference 1, preference 2, preference 3. So it will work between January to May. And then finally, the William Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board will decide according to your profile and according to the university given in your list, like 6-7 university they have given. So basically they match your profile, that in which profile your in which university your profile is matching. So this is the one of the last thing which is going to happen, and eventually this is the final selection you got, that you are selected for Fulbright program. So this has happened again between Feb to May. They are working. The Presidential Appointment FSB Fulbright Scholarship Board makes the final selection of the candidates. So the selection time is little bit big, but you have to patience about it, and you will get the result. So now I talk about Fulbright program in general, like what benefit you got from Fulbright program, like application process, and in general I talk about. Here I would like to talk about FLTA program. Actually, I was selected for a FLTA program, Foreign Language Teacher Assistant program. So let's see what is about this program. The United States Indian Educational Foundation, USIEF, invites applications from early career English teachers teaching at college level or training to become a teacher of English, or a young professional in the related fields, American Studies, American English Literature, etc. For the Fulbright Foreign Language Teacher Assistant FLTA program. So you understand very well, this is for the English teachers who started their career, or they are in a stage of training. They are getting some kind of teacher training like B.Ed and DIET. In India we have this training programs, and this is also if you are pursuing your research program in English or linguistics, you can apply. Selected FLTA from India will teach Bengali, Hindi or Urdu So there are 3 languages: Bengali, Hindi, and Urdu, as select US campuses during their 9-month non-degree grant beginning August to September 2021. So this is for 3 languages, and it is very wise to choose your language because where you feel comfortable. If you are good in Urdu, if you are good in Hindi or Bengali, either one of them. And this is a 9-month program. Fulbright language teaching program is a 9-month, and it's a non-degree program. So this is very important to remember. You will not get degree after this program. And because nowadays, because of COVID and everything, it is given that it is going to start it from August, September 2021. But usually, actually, started from end of July and first week of August. So the Fulbright FLTA program is an integral part of the Fulbright student program funded by the US Department of State. Again, I think it talks about it's a 9-month program and non-degree program. The Fulbright program promotes cross-cultural understanding in the USA and in the home countries of FLTA fellows. US university benefit from the presence of a native speaker on their campus. FLTA fellow provide teaching assistant by serving in various capacities, which may include teaching up to 2 classes per semester, and typically facilitate cultural event, language clubs, and language tables. So after selection of Fulbright program, you understand what are your duties. So technically you have to teach 2 classes in 2 semesters. It's in a spring semester or fall semester, and apart from academic activity, you have to also very active in the cultural events. Like I presented India in international coffee hour and language potluck, and we celebrated various Indian festivals, like we celebrated Diwali, Holi, Eid, Christmas. So all the festivals, cultural events, and language tables. So and Bollywood movie night. So you have to very active in other cultural activities, because don't forget that Fulbright is also cultural exchange program. FLTA fellow are required to enroll in at least 2 courses per semester. So let's talk about the courses. It up to your interest that what are your interests. Like I have opted Hollywood movies because I was interested in script writing program and the teacher training program, because my area of research was teacher development program. So I have taken in-service teacher training program. But they have a lot of courses. Even you can take any foreign languages, TESOL program. So many things are there. So it totally up to you that what you are going to choose for 2 courses per semester, which must be in US. Studies fellows and US students have unique opportunity to learn about each other cultures and customs, and to build mutual understanding between the USA and the other countries. So Fulbright program is not about that you learn understanding between USA and India. It is a program which gave you platform to learn about all the countries. Like we met Fulbright mates from approximately 90 to 100 countries, and I was living 6 Fulbright mates from different countries. So it is also a mutual understanding between other nations and you. So you learn about their customs, their tradition, their food, their lifestyle, everything. FLTA fellow must return to their home countries upon completion of the program. As a result of the program, FLTA alumni return with a high proficiency in English and able to speak with authenticity and authority about the United States value. And so let's see what are our benefit after doing a Fulbright program. First of all, Fulbright program is very prestigious program. So it will help you in your career, throughout in your career. And the second thing is that when you live in a native environment, every time you speak in English, and that will definitely help you to make your language more authentic and appropriate. So it will improve your proficiency level and accuracy. So Let's talk about grant benefit. All FLTA fellow receive a monthly stipend. As I said, all these things, insurance and travel support. So Fulbright program, you will not worry about that how you are going to get money. So everything is arranged by Fulbright, and everything is fully paid for you. But it gave you J1 visa, J1 exchange, that is called exchange visa. But it will not provide J2 visa for the spouses or the dependent. So you are on J1 exchange visa, but if you are looking to take your spouse or someone dependent on you, Fulbright program will not avail. So eligibility criteria for Indians. Let's see, because this is different from country to country. So the first thing is that be a citizen of India, means that you have Indian passport, and the person applying or holding permanent residence in the USA are not eligible. For if we talk about USA, that who can apply, so again USA, you have US citizenship, because if you have PR or other kind of visa, H1B1, J1 visa, so it's not going to work in that way. And applicant must be in India throughout the application. So you have to be resident in India while applying this program. If you are in abroad, and if you are working for some company who is in abroad, you are not eligible for this program, because this is the prime criteria for the selection. And must clearly demonstrate maturity, like it will show that you are very mature, you are very dependability, like you are very independent, and integrity and professionalism. And there are certain things they will definitely look, is that you have leadership quality, maturity, you can take your decisions, you are very flexible, and you are very adaptive. So this is also a technique when you write your application. Try to include, when you talk about yourself, try to prove yourself that you have all this quality if you have. Fluency in English is mandatory. So as I already talked about that, you have to score not less than 79 to 80 on internet-based TOEFL. That is the requirement. At least you will score 79 to 80, and that is quite easy to get this score. It's not very difficult. TOEFL scores are not required at the time of application, so you need not to worry while you apply for application that you don't have TOEFL. Even if you don't have passport, you can apply Fulbright program. This is also very surprising, but you can apply for the program, and once you are selected, you can apply for your passport. Candidates recommended by the selection committee will have to appear for TOEFL in November 2020. This talks about this year, so for this year application form, but this has happened everywhere. So you have to appear in November or maybe first week of December, because there's certain dates are available for TOEFL. So you have to choose according to your own convenience, when you are free and when you can make it. USIF will provide free vouchers to win the TOEFL exam. So let's see for this program what are the basic criteria. Indian applicants must have at least master's degree. Again, this depends on a country, because I was living with some students from Australia, from Bahrain, and they have bachelor's degree. So in Indian context, Indian student, they need to have, they complete their master's degree by June 2021 with a good academic records, obviously. And the master's degree should be in fields such as English language, if you have done your master's in ELT, or English literature, American studies, linguistics, comparative literature, and other related areas. But it should be related to each other, like maybe linguistics, language, something. A young teacher of English at a college level or training to become a teacher of English, or as a young professional in the related field. So they try to choose, young teachers who are motivated to work further as an English teacher, and prior teaching experience is preferred. So I would like to emphasize on this point. If you have any kind of teaching experience, it is not necessary that if you taught in a government college, if you taught in some school, even if you taught in a private coaching, and if you have taken online classes, any kind of, even if you have work for some NGO on a voluntary basis, it is very good idea to mention in your application, because if you have prior teaching experience, that will help you in the selection process. The FLTA program is a non-degree program and non-renewable program, and those wishing to pursue degree studies in the United States should not apply. So if your intention is to get degree through Fulbright program, please don't apply, because it will not give you degree. You can find some other program, maybe through other program you can pursue your degree and fulfill your requirement. All FLTA fellow must return to their home country upon completion of the 9-month program. So once you complete your program, you have to come back, and there's no extension will support it. No dependents are allowed to accompany fellow on this program. So only the thing is that if you have anything important, if you want to work with your university, or if you have planned to travel, you can take 1 month of extension after the Fulbright program. After the 9 months, you can request USIF and Fulbright advisor in United States that you prefer to stay 1 month more, so you will get 1 month of extension. Material misinterpretation. This is something very important. Please don't do it. Plagiarism is completely going to destroy your whole work. So it is very important, once you have written your application form, you can check it manually, or you can check it by different software, because a lot of softwares are available. So you can even check by any institution, or any friend will help you to check. But if you are caught in plagiarism, you are terminated for this program. It is grand termination, and you can never ever apply for Fulbright again in your life. So this is something very important. Even 1 line, 2 line, if you want to quote something, it is if you want to take an idea about famous people like Mahatma Gandhi and any leader, so you can write as Mahatma Gandhi said, or you have to give a proper referencing about your statement. So please pay attention on plagiarism when you fill the form and write an essay. FLTA application profile. FLTA candidates should be energetic, early career educators, capable of succeeding in dual role of teaching assistant and student. They must have sincere interest in teaching with native language and culture to United States. So you are going to teach Hindi, as I was teaching Hindi. So we never learn Hindi in that way that the native speaker is going to learn any language in different way, but we know that we acquire those language. So you need to do little bit of study on grammar, Hindi grammar, and word formation, syntax of a language, in order to make it more clear for native speaker. Sorry. They should have leadership skill and ability to motivate student to learn. So this is very important, because you will get very little time with your student, and sometimes students have very different interests. Like while I was teaching, I was very surprised that a few of my Hindi students, they were enrolled because they like Bollywood movies and big fan of some stars, or they just have their friends, maybe girlfriend, boyfriend. So there's very different interests, and some people like Indian food and Indian culture. So they came from very different heterogeneous purpose and heterogeneous group. So it is very important to motivate them to learn Hindi. If they are already in beginners level, so motivate them to take Hindi further and go for advanced classes. FLTA should have desire to meet people and become a part of community by participating in community event and campus activities. So FLTA will also give opportunity to take community participation, like Thanksgiving Day. We work. We went to church and we help in community work and activities. So there's a lot of platform during this time. You will get you can talk about your country in international coffee hour. I show some Bollywood movies, so it was Bollywood movies hour, and various things. Even I was not fortunate to part of few program because that year it was closed. But despite that, there is a lot of opportunity within even campus. You can take participation. They should be creative and self-reliant team players who are able to maintain excellence relationship with the faculty, staff, and students. So one thing is that you have to very, very friendly to your staff, to your teachers, to professors, because this is also a bit, how to say, for me it was a little bit shocking. Maybe you can say it's a cultural shock. But when I went there, I saw like, everyone work together, because in India we can see like somehow we feel hesitant to talk our teachers, professors, and but in United States they work in a team. So they will help you, and they are very, very friendly, and they ask you about how was your day and everything. So they must be open to living with their US student peer in undergraduate or graduate level campus for housing, and also engaging with faculty and staff with maturity and professionalism. Let's see. So this is all about the application process. This is the link. You can apply.ii.org. Actually, for applying FLTA program, it is very good to just write USIEF. So once you open USIEF, you can see all the programs detail are given, like Fulbright program, Nehru Fulbright program, postdoc program, visiting professor program. Even I think Fulbright also give a conference grant. If you are interested to present your paper in United States, you can apply for Fulbright conference as well. So the program timeline, this is, I think already I mentioned, this is because it is given in the context of 2021, all these things. Once you are selected for Fulbright program, the first thing is that you have your pre-departure orientation program. That is in New Delhi, actually, in a USIF, where they talked about introduction by FLTA. So few Fulbrighter, they will come and they talk about their experience. And if you have any query and if you feel want to ask something further, you can share with them. And it was very nice for us. It was held on 12th of June 2018. And here's a picture I would like to share about. Those are my Fulbright mates who has been selected, and it is given that it's a pre-departure orientation program for 13 Indians selected as a Fulbright program. So those are again some pictures of our pre-orientation program. And once you have this pre-orientation program, you will call for summer orientation program. So it will again, your host institution will decide where you are going. Like in my case, it was in UPenn. It was in Penn Language Center, PLC, hosted by Penn Language Center at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. So it is for 3 days, from 1st August to 3 August. So we stay there, and we explore the campus, we explore the language departments, library, and it was very engaging actually. And it was 3 days program. And last day we have this picture, group picture and tour. So it is also a kind of conference, because you have to take participation in certain conventions which is followed in United States education system. and they will talk on various topics. And you can also, it's like a very engaging conference, so you can ask your questions and you can share your ideas, what you think in your country, in your country context. Like I remember, like one of the lecture was on cross cultural communication. So they talk about how the cross-cultural communication will work in different contexts in different country. So it was like that. And obviously the food was very good. The fruit was very fresh, and I'm very fortunate to have all these things. This was a picture from tour. It was in front of Philadelphia Museum of Art. So this picture is from the last day of our program. And then I moved to 4th of August. I moved to University of Kansas Lawrence. This is, I want to show the sign of my university, KU sign and Jayhawk logo. And just little bit description about Kansas is a public institution founded in 1965, and they have enrollment, undergraduate enrollment 19,338, and the semester based on academic year. And the ranking is 129 best colleges in the national university category. The tuition fee is very high. It's 11,148 in 2018 to 19. Out of state tuition fee is $27,358. So you can see that KU is again kind of expensive in terms of tuition fees. This is after part of the Fulbright program in the University of Kansas. I was promoting Hindi language in a global language event at KU. So this was conducted by Cultural Affair Department, and I was I was talking about the food and the culture festival. So culture is again a very umbrella term. Culture is you can show a very small gesture, that how to greet in your culture, anything which you like to share. So Hindi language program is offered in KU under the Department of Global and International Studies, and they include practicing yoga, celebrating Indian festivals, cook authentic Indian foods, play games, watch Bollywood movies. So actually all these are a part of the curriculum. They have in the interval of 3 to 6 months, sometimes they are practicing yoga, and then you can like game activities, play Bollywood movies, but it is designed as a part of their curriculum. So these are the pictures from my students. They are doing some activities, and see they are playing some drama, practicing yoga is there. Yes. Hindi fall potluck, we decided to have potluck. So the event was mainly meant for socializing and meeting the Hindi student from other levels. And we have presentation followed by Indian dinner. So this is my student were prepared different Indian foods on that event. Here are some pictures. They are playing dandiya after the event. So the main idea is that they will learn language by the including various cultural aspects as well. Like if they learn Hindi, they will learn about Indian culture, Indian festival, Indian food. So that is the way they design this curriculum and syllabus. And this is also exhibition, and the students are showing, they like Indian food, and they love India, Bollywood movies. So let's see. I would like to address that what problems, what challenges I face in United States during this duration. So actually there was no cultural shock for me because maybe a few members in my family, they live in United States, so I already know about certain things in United States. But there was a big cultural shock in academically. Academically means that I thought initially that the system is like Indian, but you need to learn many things. Like Blackboard system was digitalized, so we have Blackboard training. Blackboard, training how to use Blackboard in the classroom, and they mainly focus on that how you approach the problem. It's not like you give the correct answer to your student. So if they have problem, you have to figure out where they are facing problem, and then you have to rectify those problems. So the approach is quite different. And the most important thing to handle is the change in currency, because initially I thought, because I went there and I have a dollar, and I thought like it's very very hard initially to change it. Or maybe if you are good in changing currency, it's not a problem for me, but I faced this problem actually. So you will try to save each and every penny for coming here, because there's a lot of change for Indian rupees and American dollars. So you have to take care of this thing also. And I suggest you, it is better to save your money. You can it is very advised to not spend initially your money, because it is good that you can see that how much you spend in your initial months, and all your expenditure, like your house rent, your food, and your shopping. And once you see that how much you save, you can calculate your budget, and you can save your money for the traveling purpose and for saving anything. So it is very good to make a plan before you spend. And I have problem actually to face certain idioms in United States. I would like to highlight. I would like to give light on certain idioms, like that. I will take a rain check. You are on ball. I'm sitting, finding my feet, and the downtown okra check. And the spelling was a bit different. Traveling because the American spelling is different. So moreover, Americans find it difficult to understand accent also. Sometimes when I went there initially, I feel this problem because their accent was quite different. And some American ethics and lifestyle. So this is something very very personal, that they really love to have personal space. So I failed to notice early enough is that American respect personal space, which is roughly an arm distance from a next person, even a good friend. So even if it is your good friend, even it is your close friend, it is always a good idea to keep a personal distance. We all know that nowadays we are maintaining social distancing. So it is again a part of lifestyle. It's not a problem now. Time management is very important for teacher as well as student on US campus. So I would like to share some small incident. For me actually, what I did initially, I was on time, but one day what happened, I was because the time has been changed, because when you came from India to United States, you start feeling jet lags, and your time has been changed. So I was like approximately 7 minutes late for my class, and I saw the class was closed. And I feel so much embarrassed that what I should do right now. So immediately I contact to the technical department. I contact them, and they will give me the access code. So in United States, it's very very important to be on time. Time management is very important for teachers as well as students. Otherwise, it will give very very bad impression on you. Expenses. Living in US can be quite expensive, so it is important you learn how to be self-sufficient and economical, especially when it comes to household costs like cleaning, laundry, cooking, and for rents like shopping, paying the bills, budgetary funds. So expenses, as I said, it's very good idea that in the initial month that you can observe your expenses, and then you can plan accordingly later. The climate. So the climate was again very challenging. because everywhere, because United States is a big country, and the climate is obviously different places. In East Coast is different, in the Middle East, in the Midwest it's a different, and in the East, in the West Coast is a different. So what I faced that I tried to took some clothes from India, but it didn't work because it was extremely cold. I remember I was going to the college in -19 to -25, and initially I enjoy a lot. This is the picture in front of my house, so I'm just playing with the snow before going to the college. So initially you enjoy a lot snow, but later on you realize that gloomy, dark, short winters days make life a bit dull and depressing, because you start missing the sunshine, and sometimes you need to take vitamin D. The weather is again a very challenging factor. Initially I enjoy, but later on I found that it's extremely cold. And see, this is again a picture of my backyard, and it's like completely white. At that time it was white winter. You can see everywhere it's snow and white. Do it yourself. So DIE project is very important once you are going to part of Fulbright program, because you cannot get anyone in United States for cleaning, for cooking. Even you don't have tiffin services, so forget about it. You have to do your own shopping, you have to go to grocery, and you have also take care of health, because your food has been changed. So you have to keep watching you are taking enough minerals, enough proteins, carbohydrate, everything is in balance. And cooking, cleaning, laundry, you have to manage everything, do it by yourself. Cooking skill and Indian food. So if you are fond of cooking, there's a good news for you, because you will save a lot of money. Even if you want to go just a plate of biryani and chole bhature, anything which we can find 200-300 rupees in India, you have to pay 20 to 25 bucks, approximately 2000 rupees or 2500. So it is very common, because Indian food, Americans really appreciate and they love Indian foods. So it is good to cook by yourself, and before going to Fulbright program you develop your cooking skills if you don't know how to cook. So again, after completion of 6 months of Fulbright program, we have a Fulbright Washington conference. So this conference is basically meant for you represent your country, and this is the picture with my fellow Fulbright mates. You can see the picture behind us is the Indian flag, and we also show various art and this fabric design from different states from India. So you can show that what is unique in your country, different kind of sari, jewelry, and different textile design, anything interested which will catch the attention of other countries. So this Washington conference was for 5 days. So we stay in Washington DC, and we were part of this midterm Fulbright program in Washington DC conference. So here's again the picture with my Italian Fulbright mates. Here I'm showing the Namaste sign, and this one is for my mates from Thailand and some African country. So everyone try to put their their national costume or national attire look, so they can show more about their country. So this is a very lovely, I really like this maple tree in front of my house. And this is a maple tree which was in front of my house. And this is a picture where I live. And this is KU School of Language, Literature and Culture Department. I'm with my advisor, Dr. Patrika Savarwal, with two of my students who presented themselves in Yale Hindi debate in Yale University. And with the director, Professor Mark Greenberg. He's in, he's in the picture. So here's some pictures from Yale Hindi debate. This is very exciting also for all the language, for all the TAs that they will inspire their student to take participate in Yale Hindi debate. And you will also get an opportunity to go to Yale University, explore the campus, and explore the library and see how beautiful it is. It is very beautiful, and the city in New Haven itself is very beautiful. These are the pictures from Valentine Day actually. So in Valentine Day again they have you have to teach your student that how to how to write about love messages in different countries. So I was part of this program with my advisor Dr. Dr. Rupa Sabharwal. I work as a voluntary basis. With my fellow mates is from Vietnam, so we really enjoy this event. So there's a lot of events and community work where you can take participation. So this is something very personal. I decided to host Indian dinner night with my fellow Fulbright mates at my home. So I invited them, and we make Indian table with beautiful small Indian flags, and we try to make Indian food. And they really like it because they like spicy food, Indian food. They are fond of Indian foods. So here we are enjoying the Indian food, and we have also very beautiful music at the background by and this is from Thanksgiving Day. I think earlier I mentioned about Thanksgiving Day. So this is the Thanksgiving Day. I would like to share some pictures so you have more idea about that, which type of community engaging work and international coffee hour and everything you are going to enjoy there, and you can represent your culture. So this is a syllabus of Hindi spring 2019. As you show that all the things are given, the office hour you have to choose 2 hours of office hour within a week. Language table is for 1 hour. Teaching preparation is 45 minutes you will get, and you can teach Hindi, beginning Hindi, intermediate Hindi, and advanced Hindi. And you have to also work developing course material 3 hours. So this is the syllabus. Once you go there, they will provide you, and you can see, and you can discuss with your advisor. Here is my course credit meeting time class description is given. Teaching responsibilities is given also. And in the office hour, actually, it is very important that you are present in your office, because your student will come if they have any queries, if they want to discuss. So you cannot take it very casually. It is not a good idea that you will not present in your office hour. And language table was decided to be on Friday 12 to 1. Grade homeworks and quizzes. This is again, you will get a lot of training for how to grade, and how to work on their quizzes, and submit grades on Blackboard. So you will also get actually this is very helpful. You need not to worry about it. Once you go there, they have 3 days workshops, and they will talk about that, how to do grading and how to put grades on Blackboard. Developing course material and extra miscellaneous responsibilities. So this is the extra miscellaneous responsibility: midterm exam, invigilating final exams, other responsibilities. Additional responsibilities, that cultural event, you have to be part of the cultural event in the campus. Proctor quizzes, midterm exam, and final for beginning Hindi. This was for me. Actually, this is different from university to university. So sometimes the Fulbright only take intermediate classes or advanced classes. So this is something very specific to me, which I'm showing right now. So at the end of the program, we have final brunch with the Professor Greenberg, the department head of East Asian Languages Program and Culture. And I was with my fellow mates and 2 supervisors, and it was very good time. And this certificate I got, as I said, that you will not get any degree program after completion of this program, but you will get certificate. If you want to have certificate, you can talk to the head of the department, and they will provide you a certificate with a stamp, signature, everything. And in addition, once you complete this program, you are back to India. You will get a Fulbright certificate from IIE, International Education, International Education. They will provide you this certificate, that is a Fulbright certificate. So these are the pictures that I was taking a part of music events. So I went there, I tried to learn some classes on salsa, tango, music events. And this is with my Fulbright mates. This is from UPenn, from the University of Pennsylvania. So this is again a cultural event night, last day in our summer orientation program. Thank you. I hope you like it, and you can ask. Your questions are welcome, and if you have anything you want to clear, if you don't, if I was not clear on certain point, you can also talk about that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think our today's chair, Dr. Hadida Yasmin, got disconnected. There are some technical problem. So from audience, if you have any question, you can write on the chat box. So already there are a couple of questions that I can. Yes. First question. How important is it to identify a host institution and professor? Next question, same person. How personal statement, actually, about this question about personal statement, how personal can it be? Where do we have to draw a line? Again,
Okay.
next question from same persons. How many publication should we have? Do they go by number or qualities? Please shed some light on it. So 3 questions from audience.
Can you please repeat the first question? So first I will give the
Yes.
word.
How important is it to identify a host institution and professor?
Okay, fine. So it is very important, but somehow you have no idea. You get it. Like I was getting, in my personal opinion, I was getting University of Texas, and I got University of Hawaii, Honolulu, University of Kansas, and I think University of Pennsylvania was there also, and I don't remember 2 more. So once you get, it depends on your interest, because as you see that every university has a different aspect. Like just take an example, like Hawaii is is very attractive for tourist purpose. If you want to really enjoy the sea beaches, and if you look for a tourist, and if you want to see for academic purpose, that which university is going to meet your expectation and your area of interest, you can see that that you can check it on internet, because on internet you can found university ranking and their department, because it's not only that you are going to teach Hindi or Urdu language, but also you have to see that which courses you are going to enroll, because courses are going to help in your research. If you are already in research, that might help you when you take admission in research. You have clear idea about it, because I remember one of my friend, she was from Australia, and she was very much interested in cognitive linguistics, psychology and linguistics. So because of that, she deliberately have chosen University of Kansas, because that department was very strong. So there are a lot of reasons that you can match and see what exactly you want. And there's certain also person reason that you want to choose certain places. Otherwise, all the professor, all the universities are good. I hope I'll satisfied the question.
Yes. The next question was about personal statement.
So what is the question?
Yes. How personal can it be, and where do we have to draw a line?
Okay. So as I said that personal statement, obviously from the name personal statement, so it should be very very personal. Personal means not like you talk about some useless thing, exactly what you think in your mind, that they have certain expectation. They have certain expectation in terms of you have leadership quality, you are very very flexible, you are very adaptive, you can very adapted in a new culture, you are very flexible. So if you want to share anything personal about your experiences, the problems you have, the problem you overcome, or the thing which was very good in your life, so try to make it in that framework that it will somehow demonstrate that qualities. If you want to show that I'm just giving an example. If you want to show that I live in a hostel, so you can say I live in a hostel, I live in a different background, and I hope this quality will help me when I will come to United States, because I have to live in a different environment and with my Fulbright peers. So that quality you can you need not to directly said about this thing, but the interpretation should be will be show that you already have this quality. You are very very adaptive to that thing, and in every case, like you did something like leadership quality, you are very flexible, you are very independent. This is also very important to show that, because in Fulbright program, from the day first to the end, you have to take your decision by yourself. There's no one who is going to do any favor for you. So it is very important to show the dependency, like you are not dependent to anyone, you are completely independent on yourself. So personal statement, and if I'm coming back to his or her question, like how personal it should be, like make a line. So you can write actually anything very very personal, and because this application is completely very confidential. So if you feel at any point that this thing is very important to share in your application form, you can share. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Next question. How many publications should we have? Do they go by number or qualities? Please shed some light on it.
Obviously, the publication is even in the context of Fulbright, or even in not in the context of Fulbright, it is very good to maintain the quality of the paper, or not the quantity. That is very common thing to say. But if you are particularly applying for Fulbright program, don't worry about it. They will not see your publication. If you are going to apply for FLTA program, if you have publication, it will help you. That is a good thing. The main thing is that you have to work on your application. And even net exam, JRF exam, this is only for India. This is not for United States. Maybe they don't even understand what is net and JRF, because somewhere I mention in my application, and they totally don't understand, and they tell me that you have to always write the full form of what is all about. So it is useless to mention all these things. But publication, obviously, in every context, the quality is more important than the quantity, number of quantity. So if you have already publication, you can mention about your area of interest, your research, and how for your research is going to help in teaching, in the classroom teaching. So you can make a relation of it. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is there any maximum age criteria limit after which we cannot apply?
I don't think so. There is any age criteria, because maybe in the preference they give preference below 30. because that is what I heard about it, but I did not find anywhere on the application form somewhere written in the notification. But I heard that if you are under 30, they give preference to the youngsters. And but I know very well some people, they are 35, 36, and above 36, and they make it successful. So I don't think so the age is any limitation and problem.
Next question. What if a researcher suffer from chronic disease which apparently have no cure other than managing it? Should this be put while applying? Suppose this is one of the strengths of the applicant. Can this be mentioned in personal statement?
Hello?
Yes. Did you listen it?
Yeah,
So I'm repeating.
can you please repeat it, because somehow the
Yes, yes,
connection was
yes.
breaking? Yes.
What if a researcher suffers from chronic disease which apparently have no cure other than managing it? Should this be put in while applying in a statement, personal statement section?
Hmm. Well, chronic disease, if you are having any problem, I don't think so there's any need to mention in your personal statement, because personal statement is again very clumsy. I would like to repeat again and again, personal statement is not about your health issues, not about your academic qualification. It is only always when you write, try to make your mind on all those points, because when you open the USIF, um, you will see that what they are looking for, all this quality. And when you write anything in your context, try to fulfill that criteria. So it is not a good idea if you mention personal statement if you have any disease or you are having any disease. But yes, after the final selection, you have to submit your medical report. So medical report will check your all body checkup and everything, all the diseases, because they will check before you go to United States. So it is a good idea that you are very very honest and you can mention your health issues. And there's no partiality actually, because I know that people have this problem, they mention it, and it will actually help you, because once your health insurance is prepared, they will mention that thing in addition. So you will not worry about it.
Okay, next question. Are applicants selected with no publication yet for PhD program?
Uh, no publication for the PhD program.
Yes.
So
Question might be like this: if that candidate have no publication, so can he be selected for this program or not?
I'm sorry, but the question is ambiguous actually, because he or she is talking about which program. Is it Fulbright program, or is it Fulbright Nehru program, Fulbright postdoc program? So every program it has set up different criteria. Like FLTA program, if you don't have any publication, you need not to worry about it. Only the thing is that you have master's completed program with good academic records, and your application is very well framed, and you have to work on your application. There's no need for publication, but I think in a postdoc program and Fulbright Nehru postdoc program, obviously they will give weightage to publication, because they are going to look in you, like which type of research skill you have, and what is your motivation to apply for research grant in United States. So publication will definitely is one of the, but I'm not sure about this thing, so it is always good to check on USIF website.
Okay. The next question on the same line: can anyone apply for PhD under Fulbright program? If not, then how? If not, then how much cost for PhD program in the US? Like tuition fees, room rent, etc. The host institution will bear.
This is very good question actually. I really appreciate whoever asked this question because Fulbright will not give directly any platform where you can do research in United States. But once you are part of Fulbright program, you know how the system works, and especially as far as my experience, where I was in University of Kansas. I know many cases people came from Fulbright program like 6-month grant or 9-month grants, and then they apply for Fulbright program. They made their proposal, and you can also apply for TA. So TA is a teacher assistantship. While doing PhD, you do TA and you will get a monthly stipend, and that will going to take care of your house rent, your expenses, and everything. Health insurance is going to cover. So I came to know two African students. They successfully completed their PhD program after FLTA program. So directly, I don't think so. You can do PhD, but yes, it will open your avenue. It will open platform to get enrolled in PhD program.
Okay, thank you. Next question: how much bank statement in terms of lakhs one need to show?
You need not to show anything in your bank. This is the best thing of Fulbright program because only the thing is that when you are finally selected and even when you go to airport for your final departure, they will provide you a card. They will provide you certain exchange card, and it has like $600 or something. So and like step by step, like after departure from New Delhi, I went to UPenn, University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. So they also provide you I don't remember exact amount, but around like $300-400. So and once you go your institution, you will also get a stipend so if you don't have any money, if even you don't have 5,000 rupees in your account, 10,000 rupees in your account, don't hesitate about it. You need not to show any money in your bank account. This is the best thing about Fulbright program.
Okay, thank you so much. I think there is no more question from audience. So I would like to, yes, there is another question. Is there any Fulbright scholarship for doing PhD?
I think I already have given for this answer to this question because there is no Fulbright program for doing PhD, but I know that for postdoc program and Fulbright Nehru program, that is a part of your PhD program. If you are pursuing PhD program, you can go to United States for a certain period of time, 6 months to 9 months, and if you are looking for a full PhD program from United States, it is a good idea that once you complete your master, you apply for any Fulbright program like FLTA program, and you can find your way in your host institution. And time to time, there's a lot of advertisement from the university, so you can make your proposal, talk to your advisor, because you already work with your supervisor, so they will also take care of you in that way. And even for a postdoc program, once you completed your FLTA program, if you already going to finish your PhD, you can apply for postdoc program. So you can find that way, I think so.
Okay, thank you so much. I think there is another question. Is it necessary to highlight the proposal title in the recommendation letters?
Proposal title in the recommendation letter? No, I don't think so. But even because the recommendation letter is something confidential between your supervisor or your professor and between the institute, between Fulbright. So it is very confidential what they write and what they would like to mention about you. And if they mention about that I'm going to write this reference letter in the context of Fulbright program to Mr. X or Miss X, I don't think so it will have any problem.
Thank you so much. I think there is no more question from audience. So I would request Professor Nargis Ahmed, Madam, from Department of Nursing, Alia University, to deliver the vote of thanks. Professor Nargis Ahmed, it's over to you.
Thank you, Hassan Bhai. Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, and good evening to all of you present here, our guests, delegates, and base members. We have come to the end of our today's session. First of all, I thank BASE for giving me the opportunity to deliver vote of thanks today. On behalf of BASE, I convey my heartfelt and sincere thanks to our today's esteemed speaker, Noor Rizvi from AMU, for her speech on the Fulbright Fellowship Program, a gateway for Indian students to study in USA. I believe it is worthwhile for someone who wish to apply for this fellowship program. Thank you, madam, for your such informative and attractive presentation today. Thank you so much. Next, I convey my sincere thanks to Madam Hadida Yasmin, Associate Professor from Kuch Bihar Panchanan Burma University, for chairing today's session. But sorry, due to some technical problem, Madam got disconnected. But it is our pleasure, Madam, that you were here for us again. So thank you so much. I must thank BASE President, Vice President, GS, and all members, especially the team who are working behind this BASE lecture series happening successfully. Last but not the least, I must thank our sincere and enthusiastic audience throughout the country and also beyond it, who are always there and always supporting our effort for organizing BASE lecture series. So thank you all once again. Please do not forget to join us next BASE lecture number 46. The topic is a very important topic. The topic is Let's Talk About Dementia. The speaker is Ms. Jagumali, National Coordinator and Secretary General of ARDSI Kolkata chapter. So it will be on tomorrow, 7 September, 7 p.m. onwards. So see you there all in that program tomorrow. Thank you once again. Have a great evening. Thank you.